Friday, Easter Sunday slowly approaching, and today, coming up in just a few minutes actually, we are going to have Heather Shady join us.
Heather Shady.
And she's been on our show a few times, mainly, with Halloween, ghost stories and urban legends, local stories. Yeah. But then she had told me one day, she's like, I got a story for every holiday, everything. I was like, what? Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
So she's going to join us and talk to us a little bit about, since we're wrapping up Women's History Month, she has some notable women stories, local.
Yeah,
some of them.
local
She gave us a little tease last Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I want to hear that one. And then we'll tie in some Easter urban legends too.
Yeah. That's right, because she came out to visit you during the Mija event.
Yeah. During the Mija year release. She was there too, so.
Yeah. She's so cool. Heather's awesome.
We love us.
I'm very excited to hear her stories.
Al, you haven't been here when we have Heather Shade, huh?
No, I have not.
Oh, you'll love it. Because we dim down the lights. I bring in my Post Malone candle, and the Post spirits are there, and it's like a nice little vibe. So
yeah.
So you gotta stay tuned because Heather, she'll be joining us in about 15 minutes, around 8:30, give or take. But right now we gotta take a quick break. We'll be right back after the break with more of our Talk About It topics. We're gonna keep talking about April Fools and Easter. If you have a good Easter-themed April Fool joke, we want to hear it because I want to prank everyone in my family this weekend.
They're gonna get you first. They've been listening.
They probably are. 915-280-2931. Join the conversation. It's 93.1 Kiss FM. Or you can download the Kiss mobile app and join the conversation. Coming up after the break, we have a special guest in the studio. We are going to be talking about urban legends, about Easter, Women's History Month. We are wrapping it up. Heather Shade is joining us today, so stick around because we got all that and more after the break. It's Iris and Grizz in the mornings on 93.1 Kiss FM. We are wrapping up Women's History Month, and we're getting ready for Easter Sunday with some stories, some urban legends as well. So we've got that coming up right after the break with Heather Shade on 93.1 Kiss FM. It's Iris and Grizz. In the mornings, good Friday morning to you all. We got Al, our intern, in here as well.
Hello, good morning.
And Al is going to be introduced to some urban legends and some amazing storytelling because we have Heather Shade joining us this morning. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, guys.
Hey, Heather.
It's always a fun time. We dim down the lights.
Yes, I love it. You guys got the vibe in here.
Yes, we have the Post Malone candle.
Yes.
We are going to tell some stories, urban legends, and also some stories on women history because
right.
Women History Month. But before we get to all that, in case people aren't familiar with your work, let them in on what you do around the community.
We are from Lost El Paso Paranormal. We are the ghost tour people. So we're the ones that you see out there leading the ghost tours and doing all the, we do a storytelling event that once a month and stuff like that. We do a lot of history and urban legends, paranormal, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect. So. And then speaking of, if they can go to your website right now if they want to follow along, because I know for me, when you're telling the stories, I always Google because I like to put a face to the name.
Yeah, and so what we did today was, since we're going to be talking about just a couple of really extraordinary El Paso women, and we're going to get a ghost story in there too, so of course. But what I did was I thought you guys might want to see a few images of the ladies. So if you go to lostelpaso.com, our website, you can scroll down, you'll see a big pink link, should stand out there to you, it says Kiss FM, and if you click on that, you'll be able to see some of the photos of some of the individuals we're talking about, just in case you're curious to take a look.
Yeah, I've got the pictures pulled up here right now.
I know, I'm ready. The second you say a name, I'm gonna be like, there it is. I'm gonna close my eyes with the story. So let's get to it. Share some stories with us about local women that made history.
Okay, well, since on our Facebook page, we do a lot of interactive, a lot of fun storytelling and stuff, and we've been doing this all month, and we've been digging up some really extraordinary El Paso ladies that did a lot for our community. And one of the first ones I had mentioned that I told you guys about was Miss Kate Moore Brown.
Yes.
If you look on there, you guys will see she's the first section of photos there, and the very first photo that I added of Miss Kate Moore Brown is pretty phenomenal because you will see her in her graduating class of 2 because she was the very first female to graduate from high school in El Paso, Texas. So pretty remarkable. She did move here at the age of 14 with her family. She was born in the 1870s. So we're going way back with this history.
Yeah.
And her family moved here for a better climate. Was part of the reason why her father moved here. She was about 14, and she was already at that time very, very bright. She was very into music and art. So already at the age of 14, she was already an accomplished musician. She could play piano and several other instruments. So when she got here to El Paso, it wasn't too long after that the first high school became available. She attended the first class and was in the first graduating class. It was at age 16 herself and a gentleman, a 20-year-old gentleman, were our first graduating high school graduates.
When I saw the photo, I thought it was a wedding photo because it was just her and him.
And it's so fancy.
Yes, very fancy.
They're very dressed up,
Nothing
very
like
Victorian.
Nothing like the photos they take today for graduation.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you look, you'll see she's holding her diploma, and she actually got 2 diplomas because she took some kind of extra classes or something, and she ended up coming out with 2 graduating diplomas. So she was already like a go-getter. But the interesting thing about Kate Moore Brown is, she ended up staying here in El Paso, and she became the first art teacher here and first music teacher as well.
Oh, cool.
But the reason why I brought her up is that, she did have as much of a remarkable woman that she had a little bit of a scandal, which I find hilarious.
Oh, let me hear those
Because she
scandal
scandalized all of El Paso by riding a bicycle. Oh my
bicycle.
goodness
How
gracious.
dare she?
Right? Now back in those days, early 1900s or late 1800s, early 1900s, this was like a newfangled contraption, and only men at the time
Could ride
bicycles. Yeah, you would not see a lady riding a bicycle. That was very taboo. They just didn't. And Kate Moore Brown, as I said, was a teacher, so she's going back and forth from one side of downtown to the other, teaching her classes. And like she said, you expect me to walk in the dust back and forth when I could ride my bicycle. But the scandal of seeing her in her long skirts driving up and down these dusty roads in her bicycle was so big, there was even actually a newspaper article in the El Paso Herald about this scandalous woman that is not listening to the proper morals of today's society.
And riding a bicycle.
A bicycle. It's like, just think about that for a second. You scandalize the entire city. So in, kind of in answer to that, she said, well, I'm going to teach other women to ride bicycles. And, she eventually had sort of like a little club where they would trick out their bikes.
So
if you look at one of the photos I posted there, you'll see a picture of her with a couple of her friends on a bike ride. She's got the feather in her hat, looking very jaunty. And you see her bike, she's got like a lantern on her bike.
Yeah.
She had a detachable basket that she could carry her books and stuff. So in reaction to that, she just kind of said, well, I guess I'm going to be the pioneer and the trailblazer, not only in education, but in bike riding. So yeah, we have Kate Moore Brown to thank for that, interesting bit of El Paso history. And she's just a remarkable woman, very interesting.
No, and I love looking at the photos. And in one of the photos, I think there's a male there too. So he was supporting them, I guess.
Right. Yeah, they had kind of like a little club that they would do, and they would I can't remember the name of it. It was called the Rebellious Damsels or something, and they would perform dances and bike rides and basically all the stuff they weren't supposed to do.
That's awesome.
And these were very educated women. They were teachers. They were instructors, and so they were kind of showing that. It's okay. It's okay to let your hair down. It's okay to ride a bicycle. It's okay to kick up your feet and dance a little bit. So that's kind of like her gift to, our society, to our community.
Oh, I love that. And you have to see the photos. Yeah. Again, go to lostelpaso.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom if you want to follow along with the stories and put a face to the name. We have Heather Shade joining us in studio. Coming up after the break, we'll have you have more stories for Women in History, right?
Right, yes, I do.
Okay, we'll have one more because we are wrapping up Women History Month.
Yes.
And then a little bit later, we'll get into some Easter stories. Yes, a lot going on this weekend. It's Iris and Grizz in the mornings on 93.1 Kiss FM. You all do a bunch of events around the community.
Yes, we do.
And you're going to talk to us a little bit about some events that you have coming up today and tomorrow.
Right.
But
tonight we have actually a bar crawl, and tomorrow we'll be at Memorial Park doing storytelling. So yeah, we'll be out and about this weekend.
Perfect. And again, you can go to lostelpaso.com for more details and to follow along as we share some stories. Right now we're going to get into another story about women making history in the borderland.
Right.
Because Women History Month, we are wrapping it up. But not before we share some stories. So this one is Teresa, I don't even know how to pronounce the last name. Urrea.
Right.
Tell us more about her story.
Now this is one of my favorites, super fascinating figure of our history. And if you look her up, the first thing you'll see is that it says that she is a Mexican mystic and revolutionary.
Mexican mystic?
And revolutionary. So already that's a pretty lofty title.
I'm gonna
and
use that on my profiles.
Right. I mean, wow. And she was also born around the same time as Kate Moore Brown. She was born in 1871, and she was actually from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Her story is very fascinating because she actually did live here for a portion of time in El Paso, and I'll get to that. But she was born in Mexico. She lived on a farm, kind of a ranch with her family, and sort of had like I guess you could say a regular upbringing initially. At one point in time, she did fall ill. She got very, very, very sick. And she had a very massive fever, and during that portion of time, she started to have hallucinations. And when she did recover and started to come to, she said that she had been visited by saints and by deities who gave her these, wisdoms. And she was able to, she was considered to be a curandera, so she was able to heal people.
Oh.
But she had a lot of knowledge with herbs and healing medicines and things of that nature as well. But she was one of those people, they said, that she could just lay hands on you and basically heal you.
Mm-hmm.
So once she recovered from her illness and she had these visions, she started to come out. And remember, she's just a teenager at this time. She was probably about maybe 16. And she would come out at her farm and she would give like speeches. At this time, there was a lot of unrest going on in Mexico. Some of the Diaz government, a lot of indigenous people were being treated very terribly. And so she would give these really revolutionary speeches, encouraging people to stand up for their rights, to stand up, be treated as equal human beings. And at one point in time, she had something like 10,000 people come to hear her speak.
Wow.
I mean, she lived in this little village called Cabora. And they started to call her the Saint of Cabora, or Santa Teresa, because they believed her to be a saint, because her words were so moving. She could heal with her medicines, with her touch. So because she was so inspirational in inspiring people to stand up and rebel against their treatment, she and her family were actually eventually exiled from Mexico. They were chased out of the country. And that's when Diaz had declared her as the most dangerous girl at age 19, the most dangerous girl in Mexico. That's what the title they gave her.
Wow.
And so she was literally like kicked out of the country. So initially she had traveled into Arizona, to the Nogales area, but made her way here to El Paso. And I did include a photo there that you guys can check out if you're interested, of the building downtown. It's in Segundo Barrio area where she did live. Now at the time when she lived in that building, she was very famous. You'll see there's even some newspaper articles
I was looking at that.
Right, that I've included. They were calling her the Joan of Arc of Mexico.
Popped up.
They would say that she can't be killed, she doesn't age. I mean, they were really, this lady was like a mystical figure to people.
Yeah.
But she healed a lot of people here in El Paso, and you can see a photo of her doing that right outside the building. Yeah, you'll see a photo of the women bringing her the babies and the children and the elderly, and she would heal them. Now, the interesting thing about her is that's already revolutionary enough, which at that point, but they were trying to execute this woman and assassinate her. So in the midst of healing people and giving inspirational, speeches, she's having to dodge assassins.
I was going to say, she's trying to survive.
Right. And at one point in time, in 1900, she actually met this young man, fell head over heels in love, and they married. And on their wedding night, she got like a weird feeling. She just got like an intuition. And she got away from him. Just as he was pulling out a shotgun, he was going to load her onto a train and bring her back to Mexico. He was actually a spy.
Oh no.
Whoa.
But her intuition had warned her on the wedding night just before. She felt off, so she was able to escape and get away from the guy. So they even went to that length to send the guy to woo her and marry her. He was going to bring her back to Mexico. So she was very... very, very feisty and very strong woman, and did quite a lot for our community and every community that she went to. So pretty amazing. But the funny thing to me is that in the midst of all this, if you see her photo, she was very beautiful as well. In the midst of all this, as she's traveling the country, inspiring the masses, healing hundreds of people, she had the time to just, while she was in New York, enter a beauty pageant. She won.
Okay. She's like, I'm healing the world, and...
Right.
I'm going to be a beauty too.
I'm just going to stop and win a beauty pageant in New
goodness.
York along my travels.
Iconic.
Right, yeah, exactly, right? So she was one of those women. She embraced her femininity, she embraced her strength, and she was very amazing person. And we do have that, the building where she lived has a landmark.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's been put, has a plaque and it has a historic landmark designation.
Wow, that's so cool.
Right, so we had a saint here in our midst.
Wow.
I love it. Yeah, and again, if you want to see the building, it's you can go to lostelpaso.com, scroll all the way down, and there's a link where you can see that building. That's so cool. Go find and see the plaque.
Right.
And feel it, experience it for yourself.
See where she stood.
I love it.
That is awesome. She sounds so cool.
It does. I mean, and then entering a beauty pageant in the middle of all that.
Right, in the midst of all that, she just had time to whip out, let me get a sash and a crown out of this, and then I'll continue on my way.
To say,
Wow.
I'll continue healing the people of the world.
Right.
That's so
Amazing.
awesome. Again, we have Heather Shea joining us. And coming up after the break, we'll get into some Easter stories. Give us a little tease of what they can expect.
Well, I am going to let you guys know why the Easter Bunny lays eggs.
Ooh.
I've always wondered that. Why does the Easter Bunny lay eggs? We'll literally have the answer. Coming up after the break, it's Iris and Grizz in the mornings on 93.1 Kiss FM.
KSII El Paso, a town square media station. 93.1 Kiss FM, today's best mix. Helping you through your workday. 93.1 Kiss FM.
It's Iris and Grizz in the mornings, and we have Heather Shea who is joining us, sharing some stories of, we just got into Women's History Month, wrapping it up.
Yeah.
So we told a few stories about some powerful women, defied all odds. And if you want more, if you want to go back and look at photos of the stories we had, lostelpaso.com is where you want to head on out to. But now, we're going to get into some Easter stories. Grizz is all excited about
I am. I'm so excited. We got to hear about women riding bikes. We got to hear about La Santa Teresa. I'm excited to hear about the bunnies.
Bunnies, yeah.
the Easter Bunny specifically,
bunnies,
and why
yes.
he lays those eggs.
Yeah.
Right, and when you think about Easter, and even when I was a kid, that's kind of like a little question mark that we all have.
Yes.
It's like, why is it a rabbit laying the eggs? And that's always a good question. And there is an answer to that, and I'm going to share it with you guys today, so they're going to find out. But this goes back to, the magical origins of many of our holidays. They all do come from that magical place of folklore, which I believe kind of taps into a human sort of magic that we all have. That's that feeling that you feel at Christmas or at other holidays.
Yeah.
That's where these beings and where these holidays are created. Now, if you go way, way, way back, as we know, Easter, it's synonymous with springtime.
Mm-hmm.
It's synonymous with, you can look outside right now, you see things are blooming, things are turning green.
Yeah.
And this was also the case in ancient times. And this goes back to a goddess who was called Ostara.
Ostara.
Right. Ostara is where we get the word Easter or Oster.
Oh, neat.
Ostara, what our Ostara does is she's the goddess of spring. So she rides across our universe in her chariot, and she's kind of spreading life. She's spreading seeds. She's spreading, the gift of everything coming back awake. She's waking the world back up. But she doesn't just magically fly this chariot. This chariot is actually pulled by a bird, a great, beautiful bird. But over the years and over the time, Ostara, she did start to notice that as they would travel through, our world, our universe, the bird was cold. It was a struggle for the bird. Ostara used her magic to turn the bird into a hare, into a great hare, a giant rabbit.
Okay.
Because she felt that would be better suited to pull her chariot. Now, the thing that happens, though, is this bird has transformed into this magical rabbit, right? But every year when springtime comes and she starts to travel with her chariot, spreading life and waking up all the plants in the universe, the rabbit remembers its origins. It starts to remember that, hey, I was a bird. And when it remembers that in the springtime, it will lay eggs.
Oh.
So that is how the very earliest origin that we can find about our Easter bunny. So he's been around a very, 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 very long time.
Wow.
Right. And like I said, created from the magic of a goddess who turned her bird into a hare.
Yeah.
Right.
It all goes back to the woman of it all.
The
Right?
woman.
Yeah, see, it ties in. And Ostara, you know, they used to have this big feast and celebration every year called Oster to celebrate that our plants are coming back, our crops are coming back, you know, life is coming back and plentiful. And of course, the symbols of those festivals would be the hare and the egg to symbolize her contribution, but also to symbolize, the contribution of life itself. And so he didn't get the moniker of Easter Bunny until a little bit later. That was in Germany, So before that, I don't know if he had that particular name, but his spirit and his being has been around a long time in folklore.
Wow.
So now we call him the old EB, Easter Bunny. But his origins go back very, very far. It's a magical place. And yeah, so there is an actual reason why he's associated with eggs and why he hides eggs and lays eggs.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
There you go, kids. The kids that are off of school learned more than what they probably were if they were in school. How cool.
That is pretty neat. I guess I always wondered that for sure. I don't think I ever bothered to look it up, and I guess I realize now I probably could have.
I think we just, because we grew up just here, like just being associated with it.
Right,
So
and then rabbits, eggs, all these are like, very ingrained in our consciousness of what spring is.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that. It didn't just come from nowhere. It comes from these magical beginnings of our folklore and our mythologies that are kind of the beginning of our stories.
Yeah.
So that all ties into what we experience as humans, why we get excited about holidays, because it's a little bit of magic in our lives, and that's a lot of fun.
Wow.
And speaking of the Easter Bunny, you brought us the classic,
Oh yeah.
the Russell Stover Easter Bunny milk chocolate. Like, that's just classic. You need that.
It's good stuff.
You need that to know, all right,
That's
Easter is
a
right.
classic Easter treat.
Love it. So again, if people want to go on your tours, want to follow you, tell us again what you guys are having, the events you're having today and tomorrow.
Okay, now today we are having it's our very first ever true crime themed bar crawl. We've never done that before.
That's so cool.
So my husband will be leading that tonight. You can still get in on that if you're interested. You can give him a call. And he can probably fit you in. We are sold out, but we do still have a little bit of wiggle room. If anybody's interested, give him a call at 915-503-8960, and he might be able to squeeze you in if you're interested in that. But also, we have tomorrow something I'm very excited about. We are kicking off our 3rd year of Paranormal in the Park. That is our free and family-friendly storytelling series, and we do it once a month in a different park every single month.
Oh, cool.
So tomorrow we will be in Memorial Park. We meet at 7 p.m. and you guys are most welcome to join us. Come on out, bring chairs, bring blankets. We will be starting storytelling right at sunset.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is cool.
And you can meet us at the big bridge. That's where you'll find us. That big bridge right in the middle of the park.
Of Memorial?
Park, right?
Kind of,
That's where we'll be at. So you'll find us there.
Nice.
Big. And if they want to follow you on social media, how can they find you?
You can find us on Los El Paso Paranormal on Facebook. Our Facebook page is really wild. We have so much fun on there. You can pretty much find us across all the social media. We're on, TikTok, we're on Instagram, and LosElPaso.com as well. If you're ever looking for us, you can always find us on our website as well.
And on Facebook, you all share a lot of, stories and history and photos. So
Yes,
that's cool.
we do every day. We put post after post on our Facebook page because we're really, really active over there, and we get a lot of people sharing their own stories and photos there as well.
Yeah.
Very interactive. It's a lot
That's
of fun.
Yeah. So hopefully, if anybody out there has any interesting stories that they really want to share with
Let us
Heather,
know.
yeah, go to the page and let her know about all the fun stuff.
We love to hear it. Well, I'll even go out and find it and photograph it if it's something
Take
good.
it.
I'll put it up. Yeah, I've
love
been doing that all
that.
month. So come out and join us. It's fun. We have a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And we've had a lot of fun. It's always fun when you join us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
I love
thank
coming
you.
on. You guys are always a great time.
Oh,
Thanks.
You're a great time.
Let's see, what next holiday is coming up? Where are you? March, April, May. Do you have Mother's Day?
Oh, I'm sure I can.
Oh. There we go.
Some mother ghost stories.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, then we'll can't wait for that one then.
Awesome.
Again, with Heather Shade, Lost El Paso. You can go to lostelpaso.com if you want to find out more details on all the stuff they do for our community, and if you want to see some photos of the stories that were shared today. But have a great weekend, Heather.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No,
Enjoyed
of
those
course.
buddies.
It's a pleasure.
We will.
We definitely
I'm
will.
not sharing with anyone.
Thank you,
Sorry.
guys.
Nobody at all.
And I'm gonna head on out, but Grizz is gonna handle.
Yeah.
Handle things.
I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be hanging out.
He's gonna be hanging out
And
too.
Iris says she's just leaving, but I know that this is your 9 o'clock bathroom hour.
I
So.
knew you were gonna say that. Look, I drink a lot of coffee, TMI, and I don't care. We're all human. We all do it, okay?
Fair. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I just hope my boyfriend isn't listening because he hates when I talk about that stuff. Oh, not very ladylike, but whatever. But yeah, hey, in case no one's told you, I'm proud of you and you're doing amazing, okay? And every Friday, I gotta leave you all off with, first, real quick, Grizz, what are you in love with today?
I am in love with ghost stories.
Okay, Heather, what are you in love with?
Women's history.
Ooh, Al, what are you in love with?
Chocolate candies.
Love it. And I'm in love with positivity.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with hoping you all have, that doesn't even make sense, hoping you all have a great Easter Sunday. I'm heading out. Grizz is going to handle things for the rest of the 9 o'clock hour. Bye. Love you. Here's the Cure Friday. I'm in love.